Good afternoon, I'm Milton Walker with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can download our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the words Spot and Media. Criminal lawyer Donna Scott Motley and businessman Damian Crawford were this morning sworn in as senators in Gordon House. Mr. Crawford and Mrs. Scott Motley replaced former senators Angela Brown Burke and Mark Goling, who vacated the Senate to run for Parliament in 2 St Andrew constituencies and are therefore expected to move to the lower house. This is Mrs. Scott Motley's 3rd foray into the Senate. Taking up her position as leader of opposition business, Mrs. Scott Motley says she's honoured to once again be able to represent her country. The new board of the Firearm Licensing Authority, the FLA, has been appointed. The board was announced by National Security Minister Robert Montague at a media briefing this morning. It will take effect on Tuesday. The board will be chaired by National Security Advisor Major General Anthony Anderson, and the other members are retired Peony Judge Marva McIntosh, retired Senior Superintendent Albert Edwards, retired civil servant Ina Rose, and banker Anicia Nita. The board will be in place for 3 years. The previous FLA board resigned in August following the discovery of irregularities in the issuing of firearm licenses to persons deemed unfit. As the second zone of special operations is in effect, the country continues to grapple with a spike in murders. The latest data show that nearly 80 murders have been recorded over the past 19 days. 77 persons have been murdered between October 1 and 18, continuing a bloody trend since the start of the year. The country has been averaging 150 murders per month over the last 5 months, with August recording 167 homicides, the bloodiest month since January. The Kingston Western Police Division, which covers Denham Town, has so far recorded 77 murders. Denham Town was designated a zone of special operations on Tuesday. St James has recorded 239 murders, followed by Clarendon 131, Westmoreland 121 and St Andrews South 129. The police have released a woman and her daughter who were arrested in St Andrew on Wednesday. Both females are relatives of the prime suspect, now in custody in connection with last month's murder of 2 teenagers in Comfort, Clarendon. Their arrest sparked violent protests on Park Lane off Red Hills Road, with residents blocking the roadway, stoning cars and buses. The state-owned company, Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, saw one of their buses damaged by the protesters. Reports indicate that the headless bodies of 17-year-old Ronaldo Byfield and 18-year-old Jordan Campbell were found in bushes in Comfort on September 18. The teenagers, who were residents of Whitehall Avenue, had been reported missing a day earlier. The woman and her daughter were questioned briefly by the police about the suspect, who has been listed by the police as a violence producer. He is also being investigated by the St Andrews South and the St Andrews Central Police in connection with several murders. There's optimism this afternoon from the Public Sector Transformation Oversight Committee that after decades of attempting reform, the current program will successfully achieve what all others have failed to do. That is, bring efficiency and productivity to the public sector. Speaking at a Rotary Club meeting at the Pegasus Hotel in St Andrew, the committee's co-chair, Danny Roberts, listed several government entities slated to be closed or merged as one of the moves the committee believes will guarantee success. TVJ's Herman Green picks up that story.
For over 30 years, successive governments have implemented public sector transformation programs in an attempt to create a more economically efficient public sector. In 1984, the Administrative Reform Program. Between 1996 to 2002, the Public Sector Transformation and Modernization Program. From 2002 to 2012, Public Sector Modernization Vision and Strategy. And from 2012 to 2016, the Public Sector Master Rationalization Plan. But the issue is still on the current government's agenda. Now, almost 1 year after being set up by Prime Minister Andrew Holness, head of the Public Sector Transformation Oversight Committee, Danny Roberts, says transformation this time round, which is one of the requirements under the current IMF program, will be achieved for 4 main reasons. Firstly, he says, the transformation process is focusing on closing public bodies which duplicate processes or responsibilities.
We are looking, for example, at merging the activities of the cocoa, the coffee, and the coconut industry board, and to form a new entity, the Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Authority.
The committee will also tackle entities which he called paper organizations, such as the Kingston and Waterfront Hotel Company, the Montego Shopping Center, and the Portmore Commercial and Development Limited.
All of these, they exist in name only, but their functions are being performed by central government. And so once again, we're closing those.
He says the committee has already started looking at an IMF requirement that a structured database be created to correct discrepancies between the government's human resource records, the payroll of its entities, and wage bills of the Finance Ministry.
In a number of cases, we have more persons employed than established positions. But that is not necessarily a bad thing, because in many instances, the obvious necessity to have those positions filled is going at a much faster pace than the bureaucracy can confirm.
He says the effort will be successful now that the economy has improved and is stable. Additionally, this time around, one unit will be leading the charge to make the process simpler. Herman Green, TVJ News.
Squatter settlements continue to be an issue for the government as it pushes ahead with a new building code for the country. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Dr. Horace Chang, declared that in order to protect the housing sector, government must continue to tackle the issue of informal or squatter settlements. He said often these kinds of settlements are at risk for natural disasters and are difficult to service in terms of violence, health and other emergencies. Dr. Chang was addressing Day 1 of a 3-day regional conference in Montego Bay, St. James.
The squatter regularization program while containing and prohibiting the development of new settlements. It is crucial that we work in concert with the local planning authorities to prevent the development in areas delineated as unsafe or no-build zones.
He added that a proposed criteria similar to that of PATH is in place to determine families who may require support in financing their homes.
Persons who are unable to work because of their disabilities should not be forgotten by the state, but should be assisted wherever possible and in whatever way we can. The commitment of resources to the improvement of the homes of those extremely poor or disabled will be encouraged as we seek to build an inclusive housing sector policy for all Jamaicans.
Are most of our young people ready for the working world? That's the question being raised by Factories Corporation of Jamaica's chairman, Littleton Shirley. In an interview with TVJ News, Mr. Shirley said most of the country's young adults need to improve their soft skills. Mr. Shirley highlighted that while CXC subjects are a requirement for jobs in the business processing outsourcing BPO sector, soft skills such as work attitude are equally important.
The industries like the airline, if it starts at 8, you're expected to come before 8 to prepare yourself. Our young people need to understand that. Our young people need to understand their commitment, how they present themselves. Because these jobs are not only jobs for entrance, they are jobs that allow you for promotions. They are jobs that gives you opportunity for leadership.
He added that the failure rate from job interviews for young people is almost 2 persons succeeding for every 10 interviews. Mr. Shirley stated that the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation expects over 20,000 jobs in the BPO sector. He said even though jobs are being created, ensuring stability of the jobs is also critical. However, Mr. Shirley expressed concern for young people just joining the workforce.
They're going to be there. What our concerns are. Are we able, are we ready for these jobs? Are our young people prepared for these jobs? We want to ensure that we move that to out of possible every 10 is qualified for that job. It's going to take time, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of preparation. And it's not just preparation at the school level, it's preparation from home. We need to get families to understand how to groom, how to develop our young people in their social and soft skills.
Time now for our Fact or Fiction feature. Fact or Fiction. Ronald Reagan is the first sitting U.S. president to visit Jamaica. Find out the answer at the end of the sports segment of Midday News. Former champion St. George's College dismissed St. Jacob High 4-0 in their second leg encounter in the Issa Flo Manning Cup second round match on Thursday at the Constant Spring Field. With a 5-0 aggregate win, St. George's advanced to the quarter-final round of the competition.
Kudos to St. Charles today. I thought we played very well. I mean, we won an early start. As you can see, the first 5 minutes to get an open goal. I mean, congrats to Romara. I thought he had a good game today. Even his captain today filling in, Romara Gargamel, Robertam. It was a good overall performance of the team today. You know, I mean, we have some little injuries in the team and flu, so we can recover by between now and tomorrow for Saturday's game. So, you know, we're going to have a recovery session for tomorrow and hopefully we can get stronger for Saturday.
Meanwhile, Holy Trinity advanced to the quarter-final round after defeating Haile Selassie 4-2 on penalties. The teams were tied 2-2 on aggregate following Haile Selassie's 2-0 win in the first game, and Holy Trinity turning the tables yesterday with a similar victory.
Complacency creep out our game now. Second half we show a bit of character, you know. I said that we'll be back, and you know, I respect all the team in my zone. We didn't play any mediocre team in our zone to be ranked number one. This two leg is more resemble a mediocre two leg, you know, and we make our job hard for us.
Elsewhere, Hydel and St. Catherine ended 1-1 in their second leg game at the Prison Oval. However, St. Catherine advanced to the quarter-final round 3-1 in aggregate after 2-0 winning their first leg match. The quarter-final round will kick off on Saturday with 4 matches. St. Andrew Technical will face St. Catherine at 1 p.m, while St. George's will encounter Holy Trinity at 3 p.m. at the Constant Spring Field. Other matches will feature Bridgeport against Jamaica College at 1 and Calabar face off with arch rivals Kingston College at 3 at the Stadium East Field. And finally this afternoon, the answer to our Fact or Fiction feature. We asked, Fact or Fiction? Ronald Reagan is the first sitting U.S. president to visit Jamaica. It's a fact. Ronald Reagan, the 36th president of the United States, and his wife Nancy visited Jamaica on April 7, 1982. The president spoke at the Norman Manley International Airport, where he was greeted by Lauren Lawrence, the then U.S. ambassador to Jamaica, Prime Minister Edward Seaga and Mrs. Seaga, and a delegation of Jamaican officials. The President and Mrs. Reagan also paid a courtesy call on Governor General Sir Flores Glasspool and Lady Glasspool at King's House. And that's the Midday News. I'm Milton Walker. Join us at 7 for Primetime News on behalf of the news, sports and production teams. Good afternoon.